Hey everybody, it's SilverOrpheus, and wow, I actually cannot believe it's already been a year since I started my channel. Yeah, that is exactly what we are doing here, and yeah, as you can see up top is my YouTube channel with all the Let's Plays and collabs and stuff, all the activities such as the Monotype tournament, and this right here, how to get a 3DS capture card, because that is actually what I am looking for. I really want to do handheld captures because a lot of my favorite games are handheld titles. But that's besides the point. That's not why I'm here. That's not why you're here. So why are we here? Why are we all here? Well, for one thing, a week from today, as of recording, this is probably not going to go up till probably Saturday or Sunday, if I had to guess, is that my channel has turned 1 year old. So exactly what does this mean? Well, lots of things. For one thing, I'm going to my second year as a Let's Player, and sadly, I only have two Let's Plays because the first one was 75 videos long with one of those being a two-parter and the others being a credit video. And then there was another LP that was ended up scrapped, and I do want to talk about that. But then again, since I had one of these videos planned for the collab channel as well, I think I will go ahead and devote this time to that as well. And I should probably explain exactly why I'm here, why I'm actually let's playing this stuff, and where exactly I came from on the Let's Plays point of view. So, Let's Plays is something I've actually been wanting to do for a very long time. Um, in fact, a lot of this wouldn't have happened if it weren't for my good buddy Neo Dagon, who is an excellent co-host, by the way. If you haven't checked out his Twitch, go on ahead. I've probably linked his Twitch like 2 times, probably, knowing all sorts of stuff. So the first thing I really want to talk about is exactly how I started my YouTube life, pretty much. Well, the first part of it primarily started with Neo Dagon approaching me about content creation, and I remember he invited me over to his house for that, and early to mid October of 2019, and we were discussing about that, and then that's when the idea of the collab channel, Players Press Start, was conceived. As for names, there were quite a few, none of which I can remember. I'm pretty sure he remembers them all, but I don't remember a single one, unfortunately. The only one I remember is, well, Players Press Start to finished product. Um, as for the games, there were quite a few ideas. I think he wanted to like go over like games like Bayonetta. I think he also wanted to play like Dead Rising and games like that. But the one that I proposed, which ended up actually being the one that got chosen, was Sonic Adventure. Why Sonic Adventure, you might say? Well, I felt like it was kind of fitting because Sonic Adventure was from a game that Jackson and I shared very passionate interest in, and two, it was one of the first ever video games that I ever played. It was not the first game I ever played, but the franchise is definitely the first that I've ever played. So so that collab project really meant a lot to me, and a whole lot of stuff. Even though, like, a bunch of legends were actually born from that Let's Play. For example, Jackson has a really bad PTSD experience with fishing minigames now. um, and he also doesn't like big purple fat cats. But that's besides the point there. Another thing, but when it comes down to the collab channel, Players Press Start, that's pretty much it's been a rocky road for that one. More so than other than this here solo channel, primarily because of the fact that there's now 4 people running it now. There's me. There's Neo Dagon. CMA 970 joined back in June when we were about to get back on Lego Batman, and then our newest addition, who will probably be joining us in the next project, which is already underway as terms of planning. I'm not going to say what it is, just wait for it to release. But yeah, pretty early on in the next project, the third member will like our fourth and definitely final member would definitely make an appearance. But when it comes down to the formation of the collab channel, it's mostly me doing the editing and the uploading, CMA 970 on the thumbnails, which are fantastic, and Neodagon, who used to be in charge of the upload process, but was kind Jackson hasn't uploaded anything since like episode 9 of Lego Batman, I believe. I have it right here. I think the last video Jackson uploaded was this video right here. Yeah, I think this was the last one that Jackson uploaded. Caleb, CMA 970, later went in there and changed the thumbnails for episodes 1, not episode 1, that was entirely me, but episodes 2 through 9 to match the rest of the videos that would come out later on, in which they did. Like, all of them have pretty similar thumbnails, and all of them are really good, especially this one. I really like this one. This is probably my favorite one thus far from both my solo and the collab channels. That's probably my favorite thumbnail. Easily. I'd probably say that is a profile picture. Back to the point, though, is that we have one member who's yet to make their debut. There's our thumbnail creator and also co-host CMA 970, and then me and Neodagon, who, we've had quite the rough road behind us, because between Ashley starting to get this stuff set up, junior year, which we were in when we junior year of high school when we started the channel, which now me and Neodagon are in senior year. CMA 970 is now in junior year. And then we also started like 3, 4, 5 months prior to a pandemic, a once-a-century pandemic, which has taken the lives of 240,000 people in the United States alone. That is very daunting, and it's also affected our meetup schedule a bit. Like, the collab channel would definitely not be as rocky as it is right now if it weren't for COVID-19, because what that's doing is that it's making the where only me and Jackson can meet up for videos. Meanwhile, like meanwhile Caleb is just sitting back, and he's probably gonna start attending our meetings through Discord now, because what we have going on here is that if I'll open up my Discord right here, is that I have we have like an entire network here. Players press start, all in here, every single member here, including our potential list of guests. This is our Discord channel. My solo Let's Plays are right here. And then over here, as you guys can no doubt tell, we have we have this Pokemon gaming chat set up. It's rather okay. I'm not exactly gonna reveal what that Pokemon chat is gonna be for yet. What I will say though is that there's an event planned for next month, and that event will definitely be on the collab channel, Players Press Start, for sure. Because me, Neodagon, because literally all 4 of us are going to be participating in that tournament. Well, I guess I kind of revealed it now. Tournament. All 4 of us are going to be participating, and it's pretty even. But back on topic, we're talking more about Let's Plays and not tournaments. So let's actually get to, well, my actual solo Let's Plays and stuff like that. First off is Final Fantasy VII. Now, ever since the idea of the collab channel was conceived, I always thought about actually doing a solo channel. Because if there's one thing that I feared going into the collabs, is what there's inevitably going to be a situation where you're going to have quite the divide amongst fans. You're probably going to have half the people who think Jackson's hilarious but think I'm stupid, or vice versa. Um, People might like me for my knowledge and information, meanwhile they find Jackson annoying. Um, that was my biggest fear going into Players Press Start. So I decided, you know what, for those viewers, I think I'll go ahead and start my solo channel where I can just start let's playing like other single player games, and some of my personal favorite games. Final Fantasy VII is definitely among them. Um, my biggest fear, most likely going into Final Fantasy VII, was the fact that I'm a very shy person in reality, and that took me a long time to get over. Like now, I don't really have an issue with it. Like there's still like remnants of it now, but it's not as big and as daunting as it was when I first started. Um, like you can definitely tell in my commentary, like in like the first few episodes of Final Fantasy VII, that I was more that it there was like long pauses in between my commentary, like in between line for line, and that really set me apart from it definitely made me look like a complete noob, which I still technically am, but but then again, everyone's kind of like that when they're starting YouTube, and if like and Final Fantasy VII was recorded during a time where me and Jackson had like no good recording setup. Like literally, the way I recorded the old Final Fantasy VII videos were by taking this leather ottoman right here that I'm still using for my keyboard today, a little like white box, and then taking like a bunch of books and stuff and stacking those on top of each other. Taking my NES and SNES Classic to balance my phone, which was using the camera, which was pointing at the TV so I could record the gameplay, and the entirety of Final Fantasy VII was recorded with that. I think the last. Actually, no, it wasn't. That was only for like the first 19 the first 19 videos. Because whenever episode 20 came along, I upgraded to this little small cheap garbage now tripod that could actually hold my phone. Of course, I still had to use the books and the box, but I didn't have to use the SNES and NES Classic to balance out my phone. I could just put it on this tripod, put it up next to the TV, and it just record all the gameplay. And that's what I used throughout episodes 20 through 73 of Final Fantasy VII. And then here it comes. I knew it was going to come up. Super Mario 64. I used this setup as well. Why was that Let's Play canceled, might you ask? Well, there were two reasons. One, I really didn't like how those videos turned out. For the sole reason of the fact that, one, I just didn't feel like progress, like, I just really wasn't enjoying myself like I thought I was going to. Like, it was certainly no Final Fantasy VII. Like, I was enjoying myself with Final Fantasy VII. Super Mario 64, I was not really enjoying myself with. And it kind of got to the point where I was just like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. And towards the end of Super Mario 64's production, that was when I upgraded to what I'm using now, which is not much better, but it's a start. A cheap capture device that literally only cost me like $15 on Amazon, and a microphone, which is definitely the setup I am using today. Is what I use to record the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which is the ongoing series. And then I remember that this setup also was used in the last 10 episodes of Lego Batman. Now, the biggest problem with this setup is that there's actually a bit of lag in pretty much any game that's not an RPG, pretty much. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I don't even feel it. I don't feel it at all. But whenever I load up games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with it, or Melee, as the side videos on Players Press Start have known, Jackson and I have both commented exactly how laggy the setup can be with like games like those. But with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I don't feel anything. It's odd, quite frankly. Like, I don't even know what like the resort is. Maybe it just has to do with like how cheap that thing is. But that's pretty much that. Now, you guys might have noticed this middle playlist right here in between collabs numbers 1 and 2 respectively, the Pokemon Showdown Monotype Tournament. This tournament, oh boy, if there is probably the one memorable moment from 2019 that I can probably remember, it's definitely the Pokemon Showdown Monotype Tournament. It is probably my biggest highlight and some of my most memorable moments from 2019, aside from Final Fantasy VII during that phase. But then again, Final Fantasy VII was still in its early phases in 2019. Like, it didn't get done until like 4 months into 2020. But the Monotype Tournament was the first sets of videos that actually used the tripod. And the first 2 videos were actually recorded live. So most of you guys probably remember the battle between myself and my good buddy Miguel, aka Kaiju Ham. You guys probably remember our battle. It was actually really good because I was waiting for that moment for so long because we have a history in Pokemon to where he would just steamroll me. And then I finally got those battles in. My battles with General JFA, all 3 sets, those were tight. 2-1 in sets and all of that stuff. That was complete and utter shenanigans. As for now, going into Lego Batman, this was where things really started to take a turn for the worse. Now, I'm actually going to admit, Lego Batman is currently my favorite of the 2 collab projects thus far, without a doubt. The problem that I had with Lego Batman had to do with, well, as I said earlier, COVID-19. It made things very hard for me, Jackson, and Caleb all to meet up. But then again, we recorded in like June, July. That was when we finished up Lego Batman. I mean, the final few videos didn't come out until early August, and we weren't even in school at that point. So we had plenty of time to record We had plenty of time to record, edit, thumbnails, done, all that stuff within that short space amount of time, and like we got it done. We got it done within like a month's time. Like, that was easily like our most record-breaking times, without a doubt. Like, it even beats out. I wouldn't really say we had much of a schedule. Not compared to what I have for the solo channel now, but Lego Batman was where a lot of things that I adopted to my solo channel, and a lot of things that were started recently for Players Press Start were born from. For one thing, 3-man commentary, more like multi-man, more than 2-person commentary was born. I also learned through Lego Batman that me and Neo Dagon actually function better with CMA 970 there. Because when I was recording and editing some of the 3rd collab project, and I will actually put a disclaimer out there, not necessarily the first episode, but the 4 afterwards aren't really that good. It's kind of too late to go back on that now, considering the fact that, 1, there's a dangerous pandemic out there, and it's actually getting really worse. 3, CMA 970 wasn't with us because he didn't really want to be spoiled, because his 3rd game is a game that he hasn't played. 3, like, we were pretty quiet. Like, now I actually figured out a way how to get a second mic working. But for the longest time, and this even accounted during Lego Batman, we were just using this one mic that I'm using now, and what it would do is that it would just completely is that we would have to um, put each other like at different spaces. Like I remember Caleb had to be the closest to the mic, I had to be the furthest from it. So because I'm just so loud, but Lego Batman, a lot of things were learned there. Like a lot of our early errors were pretty much shown firsthand there. There was something else planned when the pandemic first hit. Um, you guys might remember it. The quarantine projects, Earthbound and Dying Light. Those were interesting projects because during that time, we actually had our four. Actually, I take that back. Our fourth member has made a debut, but those videos were deleted, so they technically don't count anymore. But Dying Light was probably like the most productive one. The reason why Earthbound really didn't do that well was because I saw firsthand that this thing really wasn't gonna work. It was taking Caleb a long time to get his game out there because the original plan was to have 3 games out going at once. And we decided to make sure that all 3 of them were decently long. And the final idea for CMA 970's game was Ocarina of Time because he never finished it, but that never came to fruition. I forget the reason why. Yeah, I remember why. The tripod broke, and yeah, that's definitely the biggest reason as to why we've upgraded. As of this point, is because the tripod here broke, and I did actually manage to fix it by using a tacky glue. So what I was able to do is that I was able to paste the little phone piece on so that our phones could actually connect to it again. And so that's what we used for Lego Batman episodes 14 through 20. And the rest after that, and then after episode 20, we just started using the capture. Because I was already using that for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And then that all happened. So COVID-19 was definitely our biggest struggle in year 1. Now, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. This one's definitely had the roughest start out of the current 4 projects that I've worked on. Without a doubt, the roughest start. Because for one thing, episode 1 was kind of rushed out. I finished recording the video, I went straight to editing it, and then I uploaded it. And then it took me about a few weeks to a month to get the next few videos uploaded. And then once episode 10 went up, school started. And when that happened, I found it increasingly difficult to record while at the same time maintaining a student time. Like now, I have all that stuff down packed. I've discovered times where I can work on it. Like I mostly record over the weekends now because going in here, I'm mostly finishing my work and stuff during the weekdays and like all that stuff. I mainly just take all that time to myself and then just devote my weekends to recording. Most likely during my solos, but I'm starting to make time for Players Press Start now. So Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was definitely it's not finished yet, so I'm not gonna give my full opinions on it. That will definitely come out when the 2nd anniversary comes around. If that actually happens, but I most likely see it happening because I like this. I like doing Let's Plays. So yeah, that will definitely come out. My full opinion on Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee will probably come out a year from now. But my full opinion on... But the early parts of it was starting rough. Particularly around episodes 9 and 10 because when those were coming out, school was starting up. and I just found it harder and harder to maintain a normal recording schedule. So I came up with a new schedule that I have today. Is that each video will come up over weekdays, and then I'd go and record five at a time over the weekends. And so that's the new schedule that I have going on now, and it's actually working pretty well, I'd say. It has its ups and downs, but on the bright side, I actually feel happy doing that, which is odd because that's another big fear that I had going into doing that particular schedule change was that I'm not really gonna feel like doing that many videos at a time, but it actually turned out to be pretty enjoyable. I actually enjoy doing that. Now, the biggest thing that I can probably say about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee right now is that the video productions is accelerating. In just 2 weeks, I already doubled the amount of videos on Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Just already doubled, and we're soon approaching the triple mark. So that's amazing, because it took me a whole month it took me a whole month just to get 10 of them out, and then here we are a week, 2 weeks, getting another 10 out, and now we're working on getting 30 out. So that's really good. I feel like at the rate I'm going now, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee will be finished in no time, easily, because exploration and stuff like that usually lasts a whole episode. Then it comes down to doing the big thing in that city, backtracking, or taking on that particular town's gym. All that usually takes up at least 3 episodes, so it's a very straightforward process. And then once all that stuff is done, we just move on to the next town. Rinse, repeat. Although now, where I am now in the recording phase is probably going to change a bit, because I've reached the part now where it's not just about the side stuff, but now we're actually jumping into new territory. And that's the kind of thing that's the kind of thing that's going to take countless episodes. Is that in the future, it's going to take at least probably 4 or more episodes to explore each town. Well, more so going into this final stretch, because there's not much to do after where I'm at now, which is episodes 31 through 35, which is where I am now in the recording phase. So there's really not much to do now. Aside from going over things that I didn't explore in a previous episode, or just going over things I don't know, what Pokemon is this? And 2, there's a mechanic coming up later down, and 2, there are some pretty strong Pokemon coming along shortly down the road that are these 4 particular Pokemon, their bios are probably gonna be the most unique, and they're definitely gonna take the most time for me to go into. So that's kind of the thing here. So Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, it is turning out to be one of my favorite projects so far, next to Final Fantasy VII. But then again, I love all 4 of these current projects. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is going up there. Final Fantasy VII I adored, especially going into a first project. I probably would I'm probably not going to recommend that Let's Play to you guys in the next few years, but as of right now, it definitely did a good job getting me started into the Let's Playing field, and as a result, it's the reason I'm here now, 1 year later. So I have that Let's Play to thank for that. Same thing goes for Sonic Adventure, my co-commentators Neo Dagon and CMA970. I especially thank you guys, if you were watching this, for being great co-commentators. I really enjoyed every single video that I record with you guys. So, until then, see you guys next time. And for you guys, you fans, see you guys next time on the next episode of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Goodbye.